Now let's go ahead and do the other hands-on activity that we have. That is uh, how we can configure the CloudWatch alarm for Lambda invocation errors with SNS notification. Now, in order to do this, first thing that I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and I'll create a hello world function in Lambda. I'm going to launch my Lambda. Okay, I'll start my Lambda service. And once I start my Lambda service, I'm going to create a new Lambda function. And I'll say author from scratch. I'll mention my name as my Lambda test function. And I'll select my runtime as Python 3.9. Okay. In the permission rule, so I can have many things. So I'll say use my existing role, SNS role. So I've already created an SNS role. I'm just adding that SNS role for my Lambda. Okay, you have already seen how you can create the role we have explored in depth in the last session. So I'll create the new function right now. Now in this configuration page, so we have to configure our Lambda function. So we've got the function code over here. Here, let me do one thing. Okay, so we've got everything over here. So this is a Lambda handler and it's going to return status 200 and body JSON dumps hello world from Lambda. Okay, hello from Lambda. Now this is looking fine. I'll just use it as it is. We don't have to change anything. So we've got the default code already present. Next, I'm going to configure a test event. In order to configure a test event, I'll select this drop down and I'll select this option which says configure test event. Now for the test event action, so I'll enter my event name as SNS lambda test. Okay, I'll leave the other settings as it is. I'll use the everything as it is. Okay, and I'll click on this save. Okay, now once this is done, I'll just keep it as it is for me and I'll click on test. So it says status code 200, hello from Lambda. So which means it is working. I mean, we were able to test it. Next, what I'm going to do is I'll just go ahead and I'll configure an alert or an alarm in my CloudWatch. In order to do that, I'll start my CloudWatch. I'll start my CloudWatch and I'm going to create a new alarm in my CloudWatch. So here for the metric, I'm going to select it as Lambda. Next, once this is done, okay. So once I select this metrics, okay, let's say from choose, here we have got two options, Lambda log metrics groups usage by AWS resources. Okay, so let's do one thing. I'm going to do one more thing, guys. Okay, I'll say Lambda by resources, and most importantly, let's see, we have our resources right here. I think we have created the Lambda, right? So I'll try to get that resource ID for that Lambda. That will be easy. Choose Lambda by function name. Okay, now this looks good. So here I've got the various control. I can say my Lambda test function. I'll use the metric name of errors. Next, I'll click on this button which says select metric. I can mention my metric name. So here my metric name is errors. My Lambda function name is my test Lambda function. My statistic is average, and for period, I'll select the period as 1 minute. Okay. Next, I'll keep the threshold type as static, greater than or equal to, I'll set it equal to 0. Next, I'll click on the next button. Here, I can select whenever this alarm state, that is, I'll select in alarm. I'll create a new topic. Next, I can mention my new topic. Let's say I'll mention my new topic name as Lambda execution error. And we can specify the end alerts. So I'll say user2@example.com. So you can mention the you can mention the endpoints. You can create a new topic. Once you create a new topic, you can go ahead and like do the remaining settings. So for now, I'll keep the remaining settings as it is. Since it's a Lambda function, I'll click on the next button. We'll configure the alarm name. I'll say alert Lambda invocation error. Okay, so this is what I'm going to specify the name. And once it's done, I'll just come down and I'll create an alarm. Now here it clearly says we've got an insufficient data. Next, what I'm going to do right now is I'll go to my function, that is my Lambda function. So here for this Lambda, so this is what we have right here. What I'll do right here is this is my code which we have written. So I'll do some changes in the code. Okay, I'll do some changes. So here it says we've got return status code 200 body json.dumps, and I'll just add some extra text over here. Obviously, I'll say here is an error. This is just an error I'm just introducing to my code. I'm going to deploy this. Now, once I deploy this, I'll click on the test. Once I click on the test, I'll get an error. So this is the error. It says here is an error. Now, if you go to your email address, which you have configured, you'll also see the email notification with the same thing. Now, if I go over to my alarms, see, now it says it is in alarm. So this confirms that my CloudWatch alarm is actually working as per our expectation. See, the CloudWatch is working as per our expectation. If you have configured for the first time, sometimes it might take a while for you to receive the notification, but overall, this is how we are going to work, guys. So what you have seen in this hands-on activity is you have seen that you were able to successfully create a Lambda function, tested the Lambda function, and we have created a CloudWatch alarm on the failure of the Lambda invocation. And after that, we introduced an error in the Lambda function and we deployed that error in the Lambda function. And when we tested it, since we had subscribed to the SNS topic with the email address, this had ensured that an email has been triggered, and along with the email has been triggered. So we were also able to see it in the front end as well. Okay, so this is about the hands-on implementation, guys. So with this, we come to the end of our learning journey. So I repeat, guys, it's always important that you get the hands-on experience. Now that you have learned me doing each and everything in a hands-on manner, I want you to practice it. And wherever possible, practice on the questions. Like there are multiple websites which actually provides the dumps. You can, like when I say dumps, it's not exactly the dumps, guys, it's actually the practice question. Get yourself accustomed to the type of questions that you will be seeing in those examination. It will actually help you to prepare yourself for this AWS certified DevOps engineer examination.